Starting record and going live now. Bismillah.
Okay. Rahman Rahim. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى آل بيتك الطيبين الطاهرين. صلى الله عليك وعلى ابن عمك شهيد المحراب علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام، وعلى بضعتك الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء المظلومة المغصوبة، وعلى والدك السبط الحسن المجتبى المقطع الأحشاء، ورابع أصحاب الكساء، وعلى ولدك الحسين شهيد كربلاء ومسلوب العمامة والرداء. طبتم سادتي وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم، وفزتم هنيئا لكم. يا ليت نفوز بأهل ثاركم فيكون فوزا عظيما. Brothers and sisters, the last night we were talking about Sayyidina Abul Fadl Abbas, Salamullahi alayhi, and some of the context surrounding his contributions in Karbala, and we talked about his mother Al-Baneen, whose name was also Fatima, and how she had borne 4 children for Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. And today we're going to continue with the contribution of Sayyidina Abul Fadl Abbas, Salamullahi alayhi. And what we discussed today will be some of the events from the 10th day of Karbala, of Muharram, which was the day in which Imam Al-Husayn Abu Abdullah alayhi salam was finally martyred. But because we want to continue learning about the great personality of Abu Fadl Abbas, we wanted to discuss and conclude some of the history, some of his contributions. Let's see what the Imani of Ali Muhammad, the Hujjah of our time, says about Abu Fadl Abbas. He says that Imam Hussein faced the ego in Karbala. He faced the ego. And the night of this confrontation after Hussein, who was the best one to engage in its turmoil, was Abbas ibn Ali. When he cast away the water, he drew from the Quran. He drew from the Quran instead of drinking from the river, basically. This is what the Sayyid is saying. And then the Sayyid recites this verse of the Quran, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ, in Surah Al-Hashr. And what khasasa, meaning what sacrifice this was that Abbas experienced, and what selflessness was this? It was his selflessness, peace be upon him. And was it selflessness, or was it something words cannot describe properly? And Hussein faced Iblis in Karbala, Lanatullahi ala Iblis, the old enemy of Adam's children, who had promised to lead them all astray from the straight path and throw them into the abyss of hell. And Hussein and his companions triumphed in this confrontation. So what's being said by Sayyidina Ahmed Al-Hasan is when Abu al-Fadl Abbas salamullahi alayhi, he was told by Imam Hussein to try and get water from the river Furat, river Euphrates, because the thirst was unbearable amongst the whoever was left in Al-Bayt, in Imam Hussein alayhi salam's uh, in his caravan. And because Abu al-Fadl Abbas salamullahi alayhi was like the kafil, he was the guardian for the women and the children, for Sayyidah Zainab, for Sayyidah Ruqayya, for Umm Kulthum, for Sukaina. He was their guardian. So it was his duty to take care of them. So because of his duty to them, and this was no war, this was an injustice towards Al Bayt, but the enemy just wanted to exact punishment on them all. So Abu al-Fadl Abbas, salamullahi alayhi, out of a sense of duty, he was given the task by Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam to try and get water from the river. So what happened? The narration said that when Abu al-Fadl Abbas, he was an extremely powerful individual, and people would run from him when he would confront them in a battle or any confrontational situation. And that the nas kanu biyafirrun minhu. So people used to run away from him when he would confront them. So he managed to reach the river Euphrates, and he had a water skin with him, as was a tradition in those days to carry water in a water skin, leather water skin. So he managed to reach the river, and he was filling the water into the water skin, and he was about to take a sip of water. He was just about to take a sip of water, but the narration say that he actually didn't drink. He returned the water to the river because he didn't want to drink before the family of Imam Hussein had drunk, because he could hear in his mind the cries of thirst, al-atsh, 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 the thirst, the thirst, the thirst. He could hear these cries, and the daughters of Imam Hussein and his family members, his sister said the Zainab, they were extremely thirsty, so he didn't drink. So what Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan says is that what Sayyidina Abu al-Fadl Abbas did, he cast away the water. But he says, فَاغْتَرَفَ غُرْفَةً مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام رمى بالماء واغترف غرفة من الماء, was this effect. So he threw the water and he took a sip of water from the Quran. What did he take from the Quran? This verse of the Quran which says وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ, they would prefer others over themselves even if they end up in extreme deprivation. This was his sentiment, this was his passion, to look after Imam Hussein's family. But brothers and sisters, that was to be the last time he would ever get to drink or get close enough to drink anything. So what Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan is saying is, this was selflessness. In fact, it's not enough to just say it's selflessness. It's not just about forgetting himself and preferring others. He is confronting the devil. He's confronting Iblis, whose job it is to lead people astray. See, what does Sayyid Ahmed Hassan mean by lead people astray here? He explains in the tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha, which we learn in the Hawza, that when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ihdina as-Sirat al-Mustaqim, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. When we read this verse, guide us to the straight path, the path of those on whom you have shown favor. That's the path of the prophets and the ones who come with the prophets, the messengers, the Mahdis, etc., etc., the pious ones. And not the path of those al-maghdubi alayhim, the ones who have earned your anger. nor the ones who've gone astray. So who are the ones who've earned God's anger? These are the ones who, there are different kinds of groups. We can say there are three main groups of people. Ones who search for the truth and they reach the truth. This is as-sirat al-mustaqim. So they hold on to the hujjas. There's a group who doesn't even look for the truth. They look for falsehood and they find falsehood. This is al-maghdubi alayhim. Then there's a group who try to reach the truth and never reach the truth. They go astray. This is what ad-dallin. What Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan explains is people who don't support the hujjah of the time and who support the tyrants, the enemies of the hujjah, the enemies of the imam, they have earned God's anger. People who try to kind of find the truth but they end up slipping up somewhere else, these are people who've gone astray. And we shouldn't think that these groups apply to people in the time of the Prophet only, meaning the Jews and the Christians are the ones who earned God's anger and the ones who went astray. But even today we have Muslims who are doing the same thing. Did the Prophet Muhammad not say that the Muslims will follow the ones who went before? Yes, he did say this. He said, "Mathalan bi mathalan." He would say exactly the same way. Even if they went into a snake hole, you would follow them into a snake hole. Meaning, whatever they did, you will do the same thing. And this is what happened in Karbala. So Imam Hussein and everyone with him, like Sayyidina Abu al-Fadl Abbas, is holding on to the will of the Prophet, the Ma'sumin, the infallible ones. And everyone who's on opposition, they have been misguided by the devil. They have been encouraged to rise up against the Hujjah. In fact, not everyone was an average person. There were some companions who even supported the enemies of the Imam. And there were some tabi'een. Tabi'een means the ones who followed the companions. So even the devil had misguided the companions. They say that Muawiyah, Yazid, these were companions. Some people even think that Yazid used to, or Muawiyah used to write the wahi, the inspiration which came to the Prophet. It doesn't matter if they did or they didn't do. The point is that it doesn't make them right always. If they don't support God's representative on earth, they can go astray. They will go astray. So this is what Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan means. And he said this point in a speech to the students of the Hawza. So what exactly happened, brothers and sisters, with regards Sayyidina Abu al-Fadl Abbas? It's very tempting to kind of not absorb what actually happened in Karbala, but there's no getting away from the fact that what happened there has an implication on everyone on earth. See, that you find people who they can't handle the truth, so they tend to ignore the truth. And some people call these a silent majority or silent accomplices, you could say. And there are some people who know the truth and then they run away from it. And there are some people who know the truth and they follow the truth. So somebody might say, well, we're talking about 70 odd people who were killed, whereas there have been many, many massacres on earth. Hiroshima, plagues, or butchery of various nations, attacks by Mongols, by people like Genghis Khan, stuff of this nature. We hear about this stuff in history all the time. Look at what's happening in Gaza. Look what's happened in North Africa in some countries. Look what happened in North America against the indigenous Americans, who they call the Red Indians. The point is, though, that some lives are definitely more valuable than other lives. The Imam's life is more valuable than anyone's life because he's the proof of God on earth. His mission is to establish God's governance. Of course, his life is more valuable. So when the Quran says, "Man ahya nafsan wahidatan ka'annama ahya an-nas jami'an," or kama qala Allah Azza wa Jal, words to this effect, that whoever revives or keeps one soul alive, it's as if he's revived the whole of humanity. This isn't anyone's soul. Otherwise, people who were coming to kill to fight in Karbala, why didn't they have this understanding that everyone is precious? We should keep everyone alive. It doesn't refer to every soul. It refers to the Imam. So otherwise, is it possible that someone like Muawiyah in the Yazid and Umar bin Sa'ad and Ibn Marjana and all these enemies of the Prophet's family, they have an equal value to their life as Imam Hussein does? Impossible. Impossible. So therefore, there is, even though they were reading the Quran, they did not apply the Quran as per their own understanding. And therefore, if we take the Quran and this verse, means it's incumbent on all of us to try and find who that soul is, who is worth saving. That if he dies, it's like the whole of humanity dies, and if he lives, it's like the whole of humanity is lived. It's the Imam of the time. It's important. It's incumbent on all of us, and we can't pretend that it's not necessary for all of us. Because can we really think that there's no one more important than me? We all know our parents are important. We'll give our lives for our parents. So that's one clear, obvious example where we would sacrifice ourselves so that our mind, human brain, should be able to grasp the fact that there are others also more important than us. Is someone's grandfather more important than them? Of course. We all think like this. Is someone's children more important than them? Yes, they are. So we can think of 3 or 4 examples just sitting and chatting like this. So therefore, the human brain is not that innocent and naive that it cannot expand and extrapolate to other potential opportunities. Therefore, the human brain should be looking all the time for who is the most important person on earth that we should save. It's our job, it's our responsibility as human beings. On the 10th day of Muharram, the narrations say that Umar bin Sa'ad woke up in the morning and he appointed Abdullah bin Zuhair bin Salim al-Azdi over some of the group he had with him, and Abdurrahman bin Abi Sabra al-Ju'fi on some of the part of the Madhij and the Asad tribes, and Qais bin al-Ash'ath bin Qais over the Rabi'a and Kinda tribes, and Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi over the Tamim and Hamadan tribes. And he gave the right wing of the army to Amr bin al-Hajjaj al-Zubaydi, and the left wing to Shimr ibn al-Jawshan al-Dhahabi, and the cavalry to Azra ibn Qais al-Ahmasi, and the infantry to Shabath ibn Rabi', Shabath ibn Rabi'. And he gave the banner to Durayd, his servant. And when Imam Hussein alayhi salam woke up, he appointed Zuhair over the right wing, Habib over Habib ibn al-Mudahir over the left wing, and this must be Zuhair ibn al-Qayn on the right wing, and Habib ibn al-Mudahir over the left wing, and gave the banner to his brother Abbas. So here we have the banner being given to Sayyidina Abu al-Fadl Abbas. So what did Imam Hussein say? Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he said to Al-Dahaq, or rather Abu Mukhnif narrates from Al-Dahaq ibn Qais that when Imam Hussein delivered his sermon, he called out loudly and began saying, "Oh people, listen to my words and do not hasten me." And then when the women heard his words, they screamed and they cried loudly. So he sent his brother Abbas and his son Ali to silence them, saying, "Silence them, for by my life their weeping will be plenty." They went and they silenced them until they became quiet. Then he resumed his sermon. He praised Allah and extolled him, meaning praised Allah and thanked Allah and glorified him, and sent blessings on the Prophet Muhammad. And he said, "By Allah, I have never heard a speaker more eloquent than him before or after him." So this is the narrated talking about the eloquence of Imam Hussein. So I was saying that Imam Hussein sent Abu al-Fadl Abbas to get water from the river Euphrates, Furat. And we will cover the actual details of who fought whom and who was martyred maybe another day, tomorrow or the day after. But we want to get to the point of Imam Sayyidina Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. So they call him the water carrier, they call him the father of the water skin. They narrate that when Abu al-Fadl Abbas went to the river, he took a handful of water and he remembered Imam Hussein's thirst and he threw the water, as we were saying earlier. Then he said to himself, O self, after Hussein, be humble. After him, you will not remain. This is Hussein approaching death, and you drink cool water. So he was, if you like, teaching himself a lesson. Then he returned. He was on his way back from the river Furat, Euphrates, and he found people were trying to block his path, and he was engaged in a battle with them, and he was striking them with his sword. And he said, I do not fear death when death approaches me until I bury the valiant in the battle. I am Abbas, the water carrier. I do not fear death on the day of the meeting. Then it's narrated that Hakim bin Tufail ibn Da'i as-Sambasi struck him on his right hand, and he cut the hand of Sayyidina Abu Fadl Abbas off. He cut off his hand. So he was carrying the banner, and he also, you have to imagine, he had the water skin probably on his back by this time. So he took the banner in his left hand, and he ignored the fact that he had lost his right hand. And he was saying, by Allah, if you cut off my right hand, I will continue to defend my religion forever. Then it says that Zayd bin Warqa al-Juhani struck him on his left hand, and he cut it off. And Sayyidina Abu Fadl Abbas, he hugged the banner to his chest like this. So you have to imagine that these enemies of Allah, they were surrounding him from left and right as he was trying to make his way back to the camp where Imam Hussein was. So it's narrated that he hugged the banner, the flag, to his chest, in the same way that his uncle Ja'far bin Abi Talib, Ja'far al-Tayyar, did as well in Mu'tah, when he had his hands cut off. And he hugged the banner to his chest, and he said, do you not see, O wicked people, that my left hand has been severed by their aggression? And then a man from Banu Tamim, of the sons of Aban bin Darim, struck him with a pole on his head. Then he fell to the ground. And then at this time, he called out to Imam Hussein. He said, my brother, come to my aid. Adrikni ya akhi, adrikni. Or anqidni, or words to this effect. And then Imam Hussein, they say he rushed to him like a falcon, he ran. And he found him with both of his hands cut off, and his forehead was fractured. And also, that wasn't the end. They had shot an arrow into his eye, and he was covered in wounds. So they had kept on hammering him, shooting arrows at him. And Imam Hussein bent over him, and he sat by his head, and he wept until Sayyidina Abu Fadl Abbas breathed his last breath. The narrations say that when Sayyidina Abu Fadl Abbas passed away, Imam Hussein said, Al-an inkasara dhahri. Now my back is broken. So then Imam Hussein, this narrated that he charged at the people, striking them left and right. And they ran away from him the way goats run away from a wolf who attacks them. And he was saying, where are you running to now? You have killed my brother. Where are you running to now? You have shattered my support. He then returned to his position alone. And it's narrated that Sayyidina Abu Fadl Abbas was the last of Hussein's warriors to be killed by the enemies. After him, only the young boys of the family of Sayyidina Abu Talib, salamullahi alayhi, who hadn't carried weapons, were killed, meaning they were so young that they were butchered and they were innocent. They had no weapons on them. His grandson, Al-Fadl ibn Muhammad ibn Al-Fadl ibn Al-Hasan ibn Ubaidullah ibn Abbas says, I recall Abbas's stance at Karbala with the heads of the people flying around. He protected Imam Hussein and he shielded him from thirst, never retreated nor turning back. He said, I've never seen a scene like this with Hussein, full of virtue and honor. Blessed is the scene where his merit became evident and his actions were never lost. And Abu Mukhnif says, the one who wrote Maqatil al-Hussein or Maqtal al-Hussein, he says he supported that banner with his chest, though his right and left hands were cut off. He followed Ja'far's example in his actions, hugging the banner to his chest on that day. You left your memory in the world, recited in prayer niches, meaning in ziyarat. You stood under the sun of the guidance, looking right and left with your eyes, though you remained bent. The enemies, by killing you, broke his back. They threw down his banner, wrapping it, and who can now unfurl it? Your person is gone, but your legacy remains, guiding until the day of judgment. So there was one poem which was recited by al-Baneen, radiallahu anha wa ardaha, which I believe we read this yesterday, which translates as, O you who saw Abbas charge at the throngs of the enemy, with the sons of Haydar behind him, each a lion with a mane. I have been told that my son was struck, his head and hands severed. Woe to my lion cub, his heart was struck with the pole. If only your sword had been in your hand, none would have dared approach you. So there is a very touching know-how we can say, because there's not much more we can say regarding Abu al-Fadl Abbas salamullah alayhi, but to lament and to weep and mourn for his passing, which at least keeps the memory of him alive. This one, there's around 3 sections, and inshallah we'll read this briefly now. It's very colloquial Iraqi Arabic, but we'll try our best to do justice to this and give the translation as well, inshallah, bidnillah. But just before I read that, just want to try and find the poem from al-Baneen, which doesn't seem to be with me in the Arabic, so we'll start with the Nawha of Sayyidina Abu al-Fadl Abbas salamullahi alayhi. Why I'm reading this one is because the Sayyid salamullahi alayhi, he shared the last section of this one on his Facebook page, on Twitter, not too long ago, and it's extremely poignant because it's from the perspective of Sayyidah Zainab. Because he was her guardian and she regarded him as her brother. So after he was martyred, all support left them. يا عباس شلون وليه بولية عداك إن ولينا. يا عباس شلون وليه بولية عداك إن ولينا. Oh Abbas, how can we find solace without you amidst our enemies? حرم والخيل ادهشتنا وحرقوا خيمنا علينا. The women and horses astounded us, and they burned our tents upon us. نار فوق النار شبت بالضماير وانسبينا. Fire upon fire ignited in our souls, scattering us. نار المخيم والظما صاحت ودايع فاطمة. The fire of the camp and the thirst cried out, O entrusted ones of Fatima. لا ظل خدر لا ظل حما قوم يا حامي الضعينة. No protection, no sanctuary remains. Rise, O protector of the caravan. نارين صارت بالقلوب تتواقد اليوم. The two fires in the heart are burning fiercely today. يهنى لك النوم يهنى لك النوم. May you rest in peace. May you rest in peace. جمر الظما ونهار المخيم كملت نارا. The embers of thirst and the burning of the camp have completed their flames. يا اللي عليك الخوة فرضت تسبح بدم الحمية. O the one upon whom brotherhood imposed on you to swim in the blood of bravery. فرضت علي الكفالة ومضت بها الغاضرية. Guardianship was imposed on me and was fulfilled in Karbala. أنا وكفلت عقب أخواتك وشقفت عنهن بديه. I took care of your sisters after you, shielding them with my hands. لكن الحالة تغيرت وبيوت أهلنا تهدمت. But the situation changed. Our homes were destroyed. عقبك والعيال انسبت وأنا أديت العلية. عقبك والعيال انسبت وأنا أديت العلية. After you, the family was scattered, and I fulfilled the duty. يا ابن الأخو يا ابن الأخت بين الأخو وبين الأخت لازم والملزوم. بين الأخو وبين الأخت لازم وملزوم. Between a brother and a sister there is always a bond. يهنى لك النوم يهنى لك النوم. وهرش القلب من ينمرد تتغير ثماره. The heart's torment changes its feelings. May you rest in peace. May you rest in peace. يا عباس شلون حيرت وانقطع قلبي. Oh Abbas, how perplexed and confused I have become, and my heart has been severed. وظل يحوم على الشريعة, and it still lingers by the riverbank. وعيني على الخيام تربي, and my eyes are fixed on the tents. تحت يصبي البصيرة. I stumble and lose clarity of thought. نصين دلالين جسم نصين دلالين جسم. My heart has split into two halves. My heart has split into two halves. ياخذ لك اخبار الحرام يلتحت بإسهام عتبي. It conveys news from the sacred ground. Oh, the one struck by the arrows of my reproach. عباس ظل مصرعك قلب أختك يحوم. Abbas, you remained in your demise. Your sister's heart lingers. يهنى لك النوم. يهنى لك النوم. There sleep peacefully. There sleep peacefully. ويصدر الخضر الحرم يأخذ لك أخباره. And the sanctuary spreads news for you. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Just a few points in this poem. Sayyidah Zainab Salaam alayha, her guardian was Sayyidina Abu Fadl Abbas. When she says, you've earned my anger, or you've earned my displeasure because you left me alone. This is a very Middle Eastern thing where you say you earned my reproach or my anger because you've left me. It's what a sister might say to her elder brother or her guardian, or a daughter might say to her father. So it's showing the amount of grief that was felt by Sayyidah Zainab Salaam alayha and the sisters and daughters of the Ahl al-Bayt. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to be even half of what Sayyidina Abu Fadl Abbas was, even a quarter of that, even an iota of that. When you see and hear about the amazing contribution and how he protected the Ahl al-Bayt, and you see how our lives are, we live in luxury, we take life easy, we don't really study much, we don't really learn much. I mean, Imam Ali alayhi salam, like we said yesterday, he said, Ibni zaqqa al-ilma zaqqan, aw kama qala alayhi salam, my son has acquired a lot of knowledge, very deep knowledge. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Almighty God, enable us to be like Abbas, be a protector of the Ahl al-Bayt, the downtrodden, stand up for the Imam of the time, and not care what happens to us in this task. And may Allah use us to spread the da'wah around the world. And may Allah make us like He wants us to be, not like we want to be. And may Allah establish the Qaim, Sayyid Ahmed Al-Hasan, Salamullahi alayhi, in the earth, and Imam Muhammad al-Mahdi alayhi salam in the earth, and their progenies, the Mahdis, the chosen ones. And may He keep us with them in this life and the hereafter, and our progeny with their progeny in this life and the hereafter. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. صلى الله على محمد وعلى محمد الطيبين الطاهرين الأئمة والمهديين سلم تسليما كثيرا. This is a very quick contribution from my daughter. Just wants to read a quick ziyarah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept. Inshallah, come quickly. One second. صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. Okay, good.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Peace be upon you, O Abu Fadl al-Abbas, the son of the commander of the faithful. Peace be upon you, O son of the chief of the successors. Peace be upon you, O son of the foremost to Islam, the first to believe, the best who have served the religion of Allah, and the most careful for Islam. I bear witness that you served Allah, His messenger, and your brothers sincerely. You are the most excellent self-sacrificing brother. You are the most excellent steadfast fighter, protector to the supporter and brother who defended his brother and responded to the obedience to his Lord. So the word
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. أحسنتي. Brother Mahdi, inshallah, you can go ahead if you want to do Hussein Gharib or something similar, inshallah. Bismillah. Tawakkal ala Allah.
Inshallah. You want to repeat Hussein al-Gharib?
Yeah, sure. Should we mute or should we read along a little bit?
You could read along a little bit, but I guess due to the time lag, your voice would come at a different time than mine.
Okay, no issue, inshallah. Tawakkal ala Allah. Bismillah.
It's missing. Here it is. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. You are the grandson of Mustafa, one of the 12 sons of Fatima, the purest of soul with highest purity. Yet thousands who called Muslims showed no loyalty. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. They knew you among those who entered Kisa, and yet they left you with no shroud in Karbala. The cloak of Yamani is crying for you, which made us cry for the sake of Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. You are the teacher of charity. You fed the horses of your enemy. From darkness into light you set her free, who died as Shahid and father of Shahid. You pleaded for Asghar who was thirsty. Arrows they fed to your infant baby. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. You are the lantern of guidance to see. You are the salvation of all humanity. Those who got in your light called out your name. In your arms you carried them back till only you remained. Sakina, your daughter, went from crying in your arms to see the head on the spear in the court of Sham. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein. Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid, al-Hussein. You are the root of the branch that sweetens Zain al-Abidin, a branch that weakened with what his eyes had seen. He endured the sun of Karbala. He endured the scene of Karbala and held his belief, added to his own suffering, no sign of his relief. the sight of women and children tied in chains, and hearing Zainab crying, pain, Aina Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein. No Qasim, no On, no Muhammad, no Abbas, no Akbar, no Asqar, you lost them all so fast. Oh Allah, please accept this humble sacrifice, the words of Imam when Asr time arrived. Oh Allah, what has he lost? He who loses you. But oh Allah, what can he lose? He who finds you. Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein. You are the savior of mankind. Today we call Ya Mahdi as a sign, for surely he grieved over tortured beloved and laments on the trials of Masayeb. Ya Ahmed Al-Hasan, we bow in grief in the light of Hussein. Together we believe Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, al-Shahid al-Hussein, Hussein al-Gharib, al-Gharib, al-Hussein, Hussein al-Shahid, الشهيد الحسين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى آل المحدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Back to you, brother.
اللهم بحق فاطمة وبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها صل على محمد وعلى محمد وبارك على محمد وعلى محمد. اللهم تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا انك انت التواب الرحيم. اللهم إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم اجعلنا كما تحب ولا كما نحب. اللهم تقبل منا هذه البضاعة المزجاة يا رب العالمين. إنا نراك من المحسنين وتصدق علينا إنا نراك من المحسنين. اللهم كما قال إبراهيم عليه السلام اللهم طهر هذا البيت من الشرك والكذب. اللهم كذلك طهر قلوبنا من النفاق ومن الشرك ومن الظلم يا رب العالمين. وكما رفعت ذكر ومقام محمد وآل محمد اللهم كذلك ارفع مقاماتنا ومراتبنا مع هذه الدعوة المباركة. اللهم كما أنت رفعت الحسين مع صالحين ومعه أصحابه اللهم كذلك اجمعنا مع حسين زماننا سيد أحمد الحسن سلام الله عليه واجمعنا تحت الراية الإيماني وارفعنا كذلك على خير على هذه الدعوة المباركة وادخلنا مع المتقين مع الأبرار الجنة الفردوس. واللهم كن راضيا عنا اللهم وأرضنا عنك يا رب العالمين واحفظنا بأيديك يا رب العالمين. Allah, in the way that Ibrahim al-Islam, he cleansed your house from all kufr, from shirk, from all bad things. Cleanse our hearts from kufr, from shirk, from weakness, from darkness, Ya Rabbal Alameen. In the same way that you raise the status of Prophet Muhammad in this life and hereafter, raise our statuses because of this blessed da'wah, this blessed call of Sayyidina Ahmed Al-Hasan. In the same way that you gathered Imam Hussein and his close companions and you raised them all up to you on the truth and fighting for the truth, in the same way, gather us all under the flag of the Sayyid Sanamullah alayhi. And when we meet you, let us meet you on goodness and regard us as shuhada, as witnesses to the truth. Oh Allah, keep us steadfast on this blessed path as long as we are alive, and when you take us from this life, take us in a good way and don't let us falter at the last minute. Oh Allah, accept from us this meager portion, this poor effort, and be charitable towards us. We regard, because you are always merciful and charitable to those who are needy of charity. يا من يعطي الكثير بالقليل وما أعطنا الكثير بالقليل الذي نحن نقدمه بين يديك. Oh Allah, the one who gives a lot in return for something very little, give us a lot in return for the very little that we present to you. Allah, accept from us and keep our feet steadfast and keep us patient and on the straight path, Ya Rabbil Alameen, and keep us with the Ma'asumeen in the hereafter and this life. Keep our children with their children, O Lord of the worlds. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى محمد الطيبين الطاهرين الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Inshallah, shall I end the stream?
Inshallah.